Hello, YouTube family. Back again. This is podcast 2. This one was a little quicker, but when I find something that's inspirational, I want to share. I committed to doing these once a week. I put one out a few days ago, and I figured with a situation that kind of came across my plate early this morning. A good friend was in a dark place. And with all of the mental issues that of wonderful people that have put themselves in some precarious and dangerous and sometimes life-ending ways, I just figured maybe this was a sign to put something out there. So again, this is Unscripted with JP. I just wanted to put this out here. It's not as, coordinated as I would like for it to be, but here we go. It's dealing with your peace. I think we all want it. I think it's one of the first things that should come up in a relationship, or if you're in a situation where you want a relationship to start, right? Peace is very important, no matter what it is, whether it's at your job, whether it's at your home, among people that are your friends, acquaintances, or what have you. But I wanted to make sure that you understood that you don't owe anyone space in your peace. You really don't. Because that's a place where I think it's built to heal. It gives you time to think. And also, in most cases, breathe again, depending on where you are in your pain or your healing process. So again, to me, peace is very sacred. It's not a public park. It's a private property. It really is. It's between you and your spirituality, things of that nature. Too many times we just hand out all this free access like Wi-Fi. And like anyone can come in and rearrange your world. And after that, they leave it to you to put it back together. People will test your boundaries. I mean, I've been there. I'm sure I've been the source of getting across boundaries as I've grown in life. And people have crossed mine. When you find your peace, they'll wonder why you're so quiet, right? I basically would say I had to give myself time to forgive myself, time to grow, and time to find that balance again. That's some of the reason. And some people wonder why you're quiet, why you're pulling back, and why you're moving. That's the new word, moving differently. But when you finally start choosing your peace over everybody else's approval, whether you like them or not, you start realizing you just don't owe people any explanations. And don't give them that energy. You don't owe anyone, again, space in your peace. I guess personally reflecting, there was a time when I kept letting people enter my space, get into my peace. But to me, peace is not built on pleasing people. Although you can reach out and give of yourself. And sometimes, depending on how you look at that, it may not even be peace at all. To me, it's exhausting. I had to learn that saying no, right? To people I love, to my children, co-workers that I've had in the past, what have you. But saying no doesn't make you a cold person. It just makes you clear about your intentions, clear about your vices, clear about your chain and how long it is, right? But every time I said yes to someone who didn't necessarily respect my space, I was actually saying no to myself. And that's where the changes started and needed to begin. So if this sounds familiar, and I'm sure it does to some of you, maybe this is your sign to just stop explaining your silence and start honoring it, right? I do affirmations. I don't know who does it or don't, but, I always repeat things to myself. And when I go through those times, I just basically tell myself I don't owe anyone space in my peace. I don't owe anyone access to my calmness. And I don't owe anyone an explanation. Because to me, that's growing. You're growing above the fray, right? Peace to me is individual, right? But depending on how you look at it and however you score yourself, it's still a responsibility for you to maintain your peace. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do to protect yourself is run to your place of peace. Peace doesn't mean just cutting everybody off. I'm not saying that. It just means you're choosing a little bit wiser who gets close enough to you and into your space, being very selective. You can also forgive someone and still keep your distance, right? I do it all the time. You can wish people well without giving them access. You can also love them, but love them from over there. So again, from a call to action, if this message really hits home for you, just take a few seconds, 30 seconds or so, after this episode or sometime later in the day or when you have time, even before you go to bed, write down 3 things that threaten your peace. Then draw a line through each one. That's your line in the sand, respectively, and keep it there. And let that be a reminder for you. Peace does have boundaries. Let me hear you say that. Peace does have boundaries. And boundaries are loving yourself in real action. Imagine this. You're sitting in a quiet room. Your phone's face down. Your spirit's calm. You're meditating. And your mind is very, very still. That's peace. And not everybody deserves to sit right alongside you. It is what it is. Your peace is your provider. It's your power. It's not something to share recklessly. It's something to guard intentionally. You don't owe anyone space in your peace. They can earn it, though, through respect. Put in the time, being honest, being consistent, but it's never guaranteed. Keep your peace protected, your spirit grounded, and basically your energy needs to be very selective who you share it with. Because when your peace is intact, your purpose becomes unstoppable. Peace doesn't make noise, but it does change everything it touches. It really does. Again, if this message really hits home with you, right, please like it, share it, subscribe to my channel. It's something new I'm doing, stepping out there to really share the message that I do quite abroad in more of a physical way. Let's utilize this media to really, really grow, not necessarily the channel in and of itself. It helps me stay motivated, though. But it also, more importantly, allows this message to be received and be shared among people that you know. And this is done from the heart. So again, this is Unscripted with JP. Stay in your power. Stay in your peace. Take care.